Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
I never aspired to kind of be in like the L'Oreal or the P&Gs because A, they were not into like media. And the other thing was like I didn't want to start in a big company.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Conversations in Quarantine. We are reaching out to people from all over the world to bring them to you, to tell you about the variety of things that they've been doing. Um, Today, it gives me a lot of pleasure to introduce you to a person who was better at most sports than most boys at MICA. A very dear friend, Ritika. Thanks a lot, Ritika, for doing this with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kunj, and anytime.
All right. What was the first year out of campus, your first professional experience as an MBA? What were some of the things that hit you in your face? Oh my God, I'm supposed to handle all these things. How am I going to do it? And what are some of the things that were like, that were like, I've got this. I'm going to be fine at this.
So I think like the experience was like it was very surprising because when I got recruited to that company, I was told that I'd be working on a travel portal, and I was like, oh yeah, travel, and that's it. Like I had no clue what that portal was and stuff. It was just about the fact that it's a big media house, and they're putting together like a travel portal or whatever, and I'll be working on that, and I was excited. It feels like I kind of came out of college with just three words, which was travel, sports, and media. And then whenever something like that would resonate, is what would kind of just my like would catch my attention. But when I landed there, I think the project that I was handed was more about the fact that Jagran had like close to some 35 odd publications in 20 vernacular languages. And my CEO was like, you seem to have a tech background, so we are trying to transform the project a little. And now you'd have to lead a project where you have to bring all of these 40 publications online. I was like, okay, but I have never done something like that in my life. I said, how do I do that? He's like, yeah, you'll figure it out and stuff. So it was very interesting because she was a very enthusiastic lady and she had like a lot of confidence in me for some reason, which I didn't see in myself, but she saw it in me. And then I think it was that partnership that kind of helped me learn a whole lot. And it was her trust in my capabilities and stuff like which kind of led me to deliver that project. And it is interesting because I have been amazed all my life to see how I delivered something like that in a year is something which is very hard to explain. But I think the good side of it was that when we joined like some smaller groups or smaller companies right into our career, it is like one of the best things that can happen because the amount of responsibility that is placed on you is phenomenal, and that's like a great learning experience. It's hard to kind of gain that kind of an experience in a very well established company, I would say.
Hindsight, you have this wisdom that joining a small company out of campus is not a particularly bad thing. It might be a great opportunity. But at that time, did it hurt that some of your batchmates went and joined a P&G or those kinds of big names that are big brands, and you're like, oh my God, like they're going to work at L'Oreal and P&G, and those used to be big companies on our campus. So, how did you make peace with that back then?
The maturity that I had was purely based on like the 1 year of work experience that I'd had with Accenture as a software developer. And working in a big company, I saw what it is like even after 10 years into your career, you know your place in that company and there is not much that you can do about things. So it was interesting because I had like very short skills of observation, and I have to kind of say that that was something that I kind of just observed in the very first year. But even my like skip level managers did not really have much freedom to kind of decide what they want to do with the product or the issues that they want to prioritize over something else, and it was all top down. So I never aspired to kind of be in like the L'Oreal or the P&Gs because A, they were not into like media. And the other thing was like I didn't want to start in a big company. I wanted to kind of grow in a smaller company and then go in a position where I can actually make some difference in a bit bigger company without getting frustrated.
Okay. Then how did the transition to Yatra happen? I understand it's aligned to your passion for travel, but to shift companies within a year and a half seems a little abrupt. And it seems like you enjoyed and you had something good things to do over at Jagran. So why did it happen, and how did it happen?
Essentially, I was really enjoying my project at Dainik Jagran, and I was thinking that I don't really have enough vacation or like paid leaves that have accumulated over the year, and I wanted to take a break because like wanderlust was kind of just looking at me, and I was like, okay, I need to take like some 30, 35 days off and kind of just travel. Me and a friend of mine, like both of us, we decided to kind of give up our jobs and travel for a while. So we just kind of resigned on the same day, and then we booked our tickets to kind of go to Ladakh. And then we didn't have a very solid plan. All that we knew is that we have no home, we have no job, and we're just going on a trip. And I used to write like a travel blog, and I have no clue how somebody at Yatra happened to discover that travel blog. There was not a whole lot that we had kind of covered in our blog or anything, but somehow they kind of found me. And then they called me in for an interview, and I was like, okay, yeah, at the end of this whole thing, whenever it ends, I would be looking for a job. So I kind of just interviewed. And I got the offer, and then the only discussion that we had was that, okay, I'm going on a trip, and I have no clue when I would be back. Could be a month, could be a month and a half, or whatever. And they were gracious enough to kind of allow me that time, because they kind of saw the passion towards travel and stuff, and they kind of accommodated my requests. So I am very thankful to them, and I'm actually grateful to them for having found me, because I did not really have to try at all to kind of look for a job.
Entering MICA was a strange choice because you were an engineer, and you could have done well at general management as well, because there are such a wide variety of subjects that are taught in a general MBA, where your logical skills, a lot of skills that you picked up during engineering would have been a lot more useful, versus a MICA is a very specific marketing degree. So why did you end up picking up MICA?
Essentially, I'd gotten through two colleges, and I wasn't really considering MBA at that point in time, because I was in my first job and I was enjoying like a steady paycheck. But I think it's only when I got an offer from IIM Shillong and MICA, I started considering MBA for real. And what really happened was I started thinking that, do I see myself as a software developer for the rest of my life? And the answer to that question was like a strong no. So I think that's what made me consider MBA in the first place. And then between the options that I had to choose from, I went with MICA because I'm generally like a very curious person who's excited to learn new things and stuff. And general management or finance was a little too boring for my tastes. So I went with MICA, which was more exciting, and I wanted to pursue like brand management and media marketing. And that's how I landed.
Quickly, Ritika, what were the three things that you picked up at MICA which were unique from your engineering experience?
The first thing would be like sportsmanship or like a growth mindset, because at the beginning of the interview, as you pointed out, I was like a whole lot into sports, and I would be seen at the badminton court at the middle of the night for the last couple of hours in the day. And I
Yes,
think
absolutely.
it's that experience of playing individual sports or team sports, and the thrill of like losing, winning, and the competitive spirit that it brings with it. I think that is something which has left like a very lasting impression. And that is one thing which I have to kind of give it to Micah, and the whole experience, like the 2 years there were phenomenal. I think the other thing that I learned at Micah, or which kind of became more up and center in my experience, was like the courage to ask questions and to kind of question things basically. So till before then, it was more about like most of the education that I'd had was more about the fact that you kind of are taught certain concepts, you kind of just believe those concepts and you run with those. But the way the curriculum was run in MICA was very different, because it was not just about concepts that you read out of a book and some models that you just go and apply. It was more about the fact that you kind of are taught to think, you're taught to kind of bring in different perspectives or discuss different perspectives or see different perspectives. And it kind of was a very refreshing approach to problem solving. I kind of really enjoyed the subjects in media. Like I took up a lot of courses in media. I never kind of went like, a course which was which was by Matthew, because in film studies, religion studies, or media and stuff was something which was very refreshing, because not many curriculum teach those. And the way it was taught was also interesting, because it was more through the medium of like movies or like, literature, which you have to read and then discuss, as opposed to like any learnings which were kind of handed off to you off the bat. Like it was not like a professor's perspective that we were taught. It was more about our own perspectives that we discussed and refined.
During MICA, how did you crystallize what kind of career you wanted? What were some of the industries or areas you thought were interesting and you might enjoy working in?
So for the first time in my life, while I was at MICA, I had some clarity. And I knew I wanted to try three things. Like one was sports. Like I wanted to be in an industry which was somewhere close to sports, be it a sports app or sports marketing or whatever else. The other was travel because that's the other passion that I have. And I wanted to try something in that sector. And the third was media. I didn't really have a very strong preference towards like any specific medium, which is like print versus television versus like some other form of media, but it was just in the sector of media. And that's why like even at my internship, like I picked Viacom because I wanted to try that industry. And I should say that I was lucky because like most of the job offers that I got and stuff, like they kind of helped me pursue the three things that I really wanted to try before I settled down for something. It's very hard to kind of come across such people, and Microsoft is full of like such humble people who would have built like products like Word, Excel, PowerPoint,